The story begins with Athena, a woman, texting her group of friends, which includes Athena, Ted, Richard, Miranda, Julius, Peter, Martin, Mike, and Liberty. All of them are unhappy about the country's situation and its leader. They excitedly talk about going after people they dislike. Next, on Athena's private jet, her guests are eating fancy food and drinking champagne. They're excited about a special trip planned by Athena. A flight attendant talks to Richard and pours him a glass of champagne. Suddenly, a man named Randy, who seems to have been drugged and is very distressed, interrupts them. Ted gets up and tells the intruder he's a doctor and will help him. He has Randy lie on some towels and unexpectedly stabs him in the neck. Shocking everyone, Randy isn't dead and starts swinging a bottle around until Athena comes in and stabs his eyes with her shoe. The group hints that something big hasn't even begun yet. While cleaning her shoe, Athena remarks that there's no room for softness in battle. The older man then drags the intruder to a different part of the plane. Randy is still alive and cries out for help, but the blonde woman he reaches out to doesn't respond, as she's unconscious. There are more drugged people lying around. The scene changes to the blonde woman now waking up in a field with her mouth gagged. As the hunt begins, 11 captives consisting of Crystal, Dawn, Gary, Yoga Pants the blonde woman on the plane, Target, Dead Sexy, Staten Island, Vanilla Nice, Big Red, Trucker, and Bandana Man wake up in a forest, with gags locked in their mouths. Yoga Pants sees Crystal but she doesn't pay attention to her and quickly finds a way to remove her gag using a pin. She then runs away. Yoga Pants finds other people around a big box. They realize they don't know each other or how they ended up there. Target tries to open the box while Dawn thinks it's a trap, and everyone goes to hide away. But when the box is opened, there's just a little pig running out. Target comes in, pulls out a rack full of weapons. They start to arm themselves while Yoga Pants finds the key to open the gags. Suddenly, they are attacked. Yoga Pants goes to hide but still is the first to be killed. Bandana Man tries to shoot in the direction where the shot came from but gets killed instantly. Dead Sexy runs out and falls into a hole with sharp spikes and gets hurt but is helped by Trucker. They try to run away but unfortunately, they both die after triggering a landmine. The survivors run away. Later, the scene shifts to 4 people, Target, Staten Island, Vanilla Nice, and Big Red, who are trying to get away. They reach a fence and climb over it to the main road. Target is shot with an arrow and comes back to face the attacker but gets another shot and dies. The other 3 make it to a gas station run by an old couple. Staten Island points the gun at the couple and asks them where they are. The couple tells them that they are in Arkansas. He then asks for the phone to call the police, and after struggling to explain their situation, the dispatcher tells him the police are coming. The 3 then realize they were each kidnapped from a different part of the country. While waiting for the police, the old couple asks him to put away his guns. But Staten Island says he owns 7 guns and knows what he's doing. The old lady then asks him why he needs to have 7 guns, and after he explains his right, she tells him that so those people who are shooting at him are also exercising the very same right. As the tension between them arises, Big Red eats the cookies and starts shaking and dies from poison in the food. The old couple then throw a gas grenade at them and kill Staten Island with a gun. The old man comes forward to finish Vanilla Nice. The couple turns out to be Miranda and Julius from the group chat. They clean up the scene and get ready for the next victims. They call their friends, naming all the ones they took down. It's now revealed that they are liberal elites hunting conservative working-class people for sport. Then, Crystal arrives at the gas station. She buys cigarettes and also asks them where they are. Noting that they are too expensive for the region, she quickly figures out they're lying, jumps behind the counter, grabs the gun, and kills them. She equips herself with something from the store and gets out. She finds a truck parked outside, and after ripping off the fake license plate, it's revealed that they are actually in Croatia. While slowly going to check the front of the truck, she finds a trap wired to the driver's side door. She then goes to hide in a bush nearby to watch. Other hunters can't contact Julius and Miranda, so Richard sends a drone over to check on them. Crystal listens to their conversation on the radio and stays hidden. The drone arrives but is shot down by someone else. Realizing they are being listened to, Liberty tells Richard to turn off the radio. Gary, the man who shot the drone, shows up and is about to open the truck door. After realizing that he is likely on the same side, Crystal warns him about the truck trap. Crystal says she saw some tracks earlier and walks away, and Gary follows her. They find a railway and walk along it. Gary tells her he is a conspiracy theorist podcaster and starts talking about his theory, even though Crystal doesn't care. They finally catch a train and meet some refugees. Gary thinks they are just hunters pretending to teach them a lesson about immigration matters in the US and tries to confront them. Crystal thinks otherwise because they are carrying a baby. Just at that moment, the train is stopped by Croatian soldiers. They go to hide behind a cargo container but are found anyway. Crystal tells Gary to drop the guns and surrender themselves for good. When they are outside, Gary goes ahead to announce himself as American and talks to the chief, saying all of the refugees are fake. One of the refugees turns out to be Mike from the hunter group and reveals himself to Gary. He asks Gary to calm down because, except for him, the other refugees are real, as are the police, and it's unexpected. He asks them to collaborate and will give them a head start when they get out of this, and he can continue hunting them. Shocked by how crazy what he says, Gary gets a grenade from Mike's backpack and puts it in his pants, killing him. Gary escapes in the chaos, while Crystal runs to protect the baby and the mom. She and the refugees are then taken to a refugee camp by the Croatian soldiers. Crystal is walked inside, the officer asks her what happened, and she says she was eating in Mississippi then got knocked out for at least 18 hours and woke up here. She asks them to contact the American embassy. They apparently don't believe her story but bring in Don, who also escaped. Don talks to her about his suspicion of the people who did this to them. Later, a man from the US Embassy arrives, introduces himself as Oliver, and gets them out. On their drive, he first acts empathetically towards the incidents and promises Dawn and Crystal that he will help them find out who was behind all of this. However, after that, he keeps asking them to confess to any wrongdoing that could be a reason for this revenge. This makes Crystal suspect that he's actually against them. She kicks him in the face and pushes him out of the car. She then takes over the wheel and drives over him, despite Dawn's protests. Her suspicion is confirmed when she finds Gary's dead body and bribe money in his car's trunk, and a map of the hunter's plan, with the destination Oliver intended to bring them to. Dawn wants them to drive to the airport and leave this place, but Crystal says no. She then goes on to share a twisted version of the tortoise and the hare story with Dawn. In this one, after the tortoise wins the race and comes back home to enjoy dinner with his family, the hare follows him and ends up killing him and his family, as the hare always wins. Dawn then asks what she means, whether they are the hare or the tortoise. Just at that moment, a little pig arrives, and Crystal has an idea. The scene then cuts to the bunker where the hunter group is staying. They even hire Sergeant Dale as their consultant. The group is waiting for Oliver to bring the victims over. Richard gets out of the shelter and goes to pee. Dawn shows up in front of him with the pig, asking if it's his. Before he can say anything, Crystal slits his throat from behind. Sergeant Dale hears the noise and warns everyone to get ready. Something comes up, and they all shoot at the same time. It turns out to be just the pig. When everyone is fighting each other, Crystal shows up and eliminates them one by one. Dawn finally comes in. Athena contacts them via radio, asking Dawn if he finished her. Dawn says he doesn't know who she is and what she's talking about but also refuses to disarm, aiming his gun at Crystal. Crystal decides to kill Dawn, even though unsure of his motives. She comes at Sergeant Dale and tortures him to get Athena's location. Here, she reveals she served in Afghanistan. Then she kills him. The story then takes us back a year, revealing Athena as a high-level executive caught up in a scandal over leaked texts, which led to her losing her job. She tries to explain it was completely just a joke but the board didn't believe her. These texts, joking about hunting conservatives, sparked outrage, even though they were not serious. However, the backlash motivates Athena and others falsely accused to actually start hunting those conservatives who've caused them trouble, including Crystal, who was specifically targeted by Athena due to a social media post. In the present, Crystal arrives at the mansion, and Athena tells her through the intercom to drop her gun, otherwise, she's going to blow her up with the bomb at the gate. Crystal does what she said and enters. Inside she finds a wall full of pictures of the preys with their wrongdoing. Athena tells Crystal she was picked for a reason, that under the online name Justice for Y'all, she wrote a social media post attacking Athena and her friends. Crystal chuckles and says they made a mistake, saying they were looking for a different Crystal. Athena doesn't buy it, and they end up fighting fiercely. In the end, Athena wounds Crystal with a blender blade, but Crystal fights back with the same blade. Both are badly hurt and fall down, bleeding heavily. Athena wants the truth about Crystal's identity, but Crystal maintains she's not the one who insulted Athena online. Athena then dies. As Crystal is close to dying, a hare comes into the house. Recalling her mother's advice that the hare always wins, she finds the strength to bandage her injuries. Crystal puts on one of Athena's dresses, takes an expensive champagne, and heads to the plane. She threatened the pilot with a gun to fly her home. On the flight, she and the attendants start enjoying caviar and champagne.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like for more videos like this.